Okay, now that I've made my outdoor slash indoor set, see, because it's got an outdoor and it's got an indoor element in it as well, I'm going to go ahead and add the lighting to it. Remember, lighting is everything. Let me see. I think before I do that, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to grab everything. I'm going to go Object Properties, click off the Show Frozen in Gray, and freeze. Once again, it'll just make my life so much easier. Okay, good enough. So I want to light this thing. The first thing that I think I'm going to do is I'm going to think about my lighting for a second, right? I'm going to have light coming off of here, so natural light with this sunset, but I also want lights on this stage here. So I think I'll work with those first. And let's see, so if I'm going to have lights on the stage, I could just fake those and not have any light source for that. But that's kind of lame. Let's see, I'm going to look in the models and see if I've got anything for light. So I've got 3D models, and I'm pretty sure I don't have anything in the colored models, but what about the non-colors? Remember, don't be afraid to work in those. It's going to take a little bit more work to do, but if you do a really good job of coloring a colored model or a non-colored model, then I will give you extra credit and I will put it in the colored models and we'll be all good forever and ever. So let's see, lights. Oh, what about this? We have home stuff, lights, and lights too. Well, if we were to look into lights, let's see. Nothing in there so far. These are kind of groovy. That's a possibility. But those are mostly lamps like I would actually see in a home. Let's see, what about in lights too? Do I have anything in there? Oh, that Chinese lanterns are kind of cool. That could be... Oh, look at that. Well, so I've got this hang lamp P. I think hang lamp P will be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring that in. And there I go. I've got this hang lamp P. And I'm going to, right off the bat, I'm going to isolate it and work with that a little bit. See, because right off the bat, I can see that this is just one thing, one model, one piece, and the pivot is down here. And that's not really very realistic because, you know, if I think about this mechanically, this is really two pieces. And if I want to move this around and animate it, which I am, then I do want to be able to move it on this bar right here and on this piece right here. Okay, well, I think I can break up this model a little bit. That shouldn't be too hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those same skills that I used when I was making my blocky character, and I'm going to start moving that pivot around. All right, so the first thing I've got to do is I'm going to go here to my elements, and I'm going to select all these guys right here. Okay, so that'll be the one part, and I'm going to detach that. So detach that, and we're going to call that hanging. Basically give it the same name. So hanging lamp P hanger, and click OK. Okay, so now we've got my hanger and we've got the lamp. So here we go. Got the lamp right here. I think we can just be on the top level of that. And let's see, if we were to go to, looks like it's centered, but here, let's start with this. Okay, so I've got my thing, and I'm going to say, okay, effect pivot only, and I'm going to center to the object. So that's put it right in the center here. And I think, so I'm in my perspective view. What happens if I go into my left-hand view? Is that a good view? Well, it's showing me that it's centered, and that's nice. So, but that's not what I want. So if it's left, so how about front? Oh, okay, front view works pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and move that right to where that central point is, right there on that axis. Okay, so that's perfect. And you know what else? I'm going to also align this right here. And so I've got my snaps on. Let's see if that's still okay. So that is just in line with the object. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Close enough here. If I took off my snaps, I could get it even more exact. That's good enough. That's as good as it's going to get. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, that way when I go to local, it'll be right on that. All right, so that looks pretty good. And so now what about this guy up here? All right, what we want for that is we want to have, once again, affecting the pivot, affect pivot only, and we're going to move it up to here. In fact, let's do this. Let's go center to object. All right, and then we're going to move it up here. And is it on that shaft? Because that's where it would be turning, right? Yes, but it's not really in the middle of the shaft. Let's put it right in the middle of the shaft. In the middle of the object, I guess, but not the shaft. Okay, so good enough. Just right there. And what about, let's move it on over here. So from this direction, is that looking good? That's not looking too bad. Okay, and what about the rotation here? Well, this is straight up and down, so that is just a-okay. So we're good. So we got a pivot in both these places that's much more logical than what it was. Okay. Oh, good then. So with that, you know what else we're going to do? It has no light in it. A lot of times the lights have lights in them, but this one doesn't. So let's put a light in it. Okay, so I think that the best place to put lights in is usually at the top. So we're going to go to our top view right here. And this is at a bit of an angle, so we're going to have to mess with this a little bit. But go back to my Create tab, go to my lights. Make sure that I'm not on photometric, but I am on standard. And this time, instead of picking an OmniLight, let's mess around with a different kind of light. We're going to go ahead and use a target spot. So there's my target spot. Okay, and so you see the light is here, and then this is the direction in which it goes. But so there we go. So let's go ahead and we can move this around. And so we're going to put this right here, right where this light is. And so that's from the top. How about from the left? How does it look there? Okay, so from here, it's looking okay. Looks like we need to move maybe the target. Okay, so just getting that all lined up so it's all straight. So that was left, and how about the front? Okay, that's the one that needs some work here. So the front we'll put right here. Okay, as if it's coming. Don't put it inside the Canon if you're going to use one of those. We'll grab the spot and we're going to line that up right there. It looks like, just so it's nice in a straight line right to there. Alright, something like that. Good enough. And I want to put that cone out just far enough so that when I'm messing with things I can see it a little bit. Okay, so that's good. And you know, just so that, remember also in Blocky where we organize things so one thing would move another thing? I think what we're going to do is, here is our hanging lamp, right? Okay, so in that hanging lamp, we're going to make the hanging lamp attached to the hanger of the hanging lamp. That makes sense, right? So if you move the hanger, you move the hanging lamp. And what's more is that if you move the hanging lamp, you also move the light that's attached to it. And if you move the light that's attached to it, you'd move the spot as well. And in fact, see, what I'm going to do, it would make sense to me to put the spot attached to the spot target attached to the spot, but it won't work. It says, oh no, you've created a loop, you can't do that. But oh well, so I want these things to move together. I'll just go the other way around. And that does seem to work. So I've got the hanger right here, and then attached to the hanger, I've got the hanging lamp right here. And to that, I've got the target spot, and then finally the spot. So those are all going to work together. So that's kind of nice. And then finally, this is something I know just because I know it, but if you were to look here, let's go into our perspective view. And you see how this is the light here. And in here is sort of like the brightest part of the light. And then this here is where it fades just a little bit. You know, and spotlights are pretty focused. But I find that these are a little bit too focused. They're a little fakey. So in here, why don't we go ahead and we're going to go and we're going to turn our shadows on. That's going to be good for later when we're copying these things. And the intensity, well, that's just going to be, we'll leave it at 1. That's just fine. And the spotlight parameters, that's what we want. And that's what the Omnis don't have, because these are just for spotlights. And let's look at that. Spotlight parameters. So see, this is the hotspot beam is at 43, whatever that means, and then the field is 45. Let's bring the hotspot beam down to 40. It's not a big adjustment, but it's enough that it is going to give us just a little bit more fuzz there. That to me looks just a little bit more natural. Now you can change that, and that's all right. That's going to change that bigger or smaller. Right, but we'll leave this at 40 and 45. Okay, I think we're all set. Hopefully we'll see. So we can end the isolation there. And let's grab this. And let's grab, in fact, I'll just double click that. And that, as you know, will grab the whole tree there. You see that's all selected. And let's also grab that stage. So I'm going to control click the stage. And we'll isolate that and get those all set up. So let's see. Let's do this. You know, that stage was in no particular place. I'm going to go ahead and go, what, left? Let's see. No, front. Oh, that's better. Okay, and right here with this guy here, the stage is still frozen. Let's unfreeze that. Let's go to the top. You know, this is just going to make our lives a lot easier. You know, even though I had that stage where I wanted it for this, we're just going to put it back to being basically lined up with our world view. It'll just make our lives easier. Okay, and so back to here, double clicking that so I get it all. I'm going to go ahead and move this one just right over here underneath that ceiling. And so that's the top. And how about the left? And so I'm going to move that in, I know, a little bit. How about the... There we go. Now we can see inside of it. And we'll go up. Just let it be attached right in here. Maybe a little bit further over. Okay, so somewhere right there attached to the roof. That's pretty good. Okay, so we got it that way. What about this way? Is it looking okay there? Yeah, it's looking pretty good there. So let's go back here again. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shift copy. Oh, you know what? First, before I even shift copy it, I'm going to do this. So, just going to touch the hanger. Remember how that hanger is attached to everything else? So let's see, is it going to work for me? And have that angle on, and oh, look at that. You see, it moved everything, just the way that you would expect it to. That is wonderful. That's why you take those few minutes to set everything up. So I got that. Double click that so I get everything. And I'm going to hold down my shift copy and I'm going to shift that on over. And I'll just say OK, because just having that hanging lamp with the extension on it is just fine. And I'm going to click on just the hanger and rotate that around a little bit. And then I'll get both of those guys. So I've got I'm going to say expand all, and so I can get this, and hold down my shift key and get this. So I've got everything except for my stage. And I'm just going to go ahead and then shift copy down right there and say OK. I can just do this individually, that'll be fine, it's no big deal. So I'm going to rotate this one. There it is. And rotate this one. There it is. And actually grab both that, Control, and that one. Did I get both of those? Well, you know what I'll do. Go freeze. And that way, then I can just grab this, Control, get this, and put those a little bit further down into the floor. Okay, looks good. And this one I could turn a little bit. Okay, and this one I will turn a little bit. Oh, good. So now we've got these guys. These guys are attached into my building here. And you know what else I'm going to do? Since they are part of the building now, I'm going to go ahead and attach them to the building. Remember that whole chain of things? So that way, if I move my building, then the lights will move with it. So I'm going to grab all those, everything there. And here's my stage right here. So if I go and I just bring that down, see, so in the stage, I've got all that. Now, did that screw up? Oh, that's not good. It screwed up my whole thing. Here, so we don't want that. Okay, because we want those lights. We set those lights up the way that we wanted them. So let's do this. Can I just grab this? Just do these one at a time. Stage. Okay, that looks good. Stage. Stage. And stage. One of those little things. See, that way, if we open up the stage, we can open up any of these lights, and they're still in the nice chain that we wanted them to be. And those are all the wonderful lessons that we learned in Blocky. See how everything builds on each other? Okay, you guys are going to be like max experts by the time this is all done. Okay, I'm going to end my isolation and go back to my perspective viewport. And there we go. We've got lights. So what the heck? Let's take our first render just to see what's going on here. Zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take a render. Oh, and you can see all we've got is these lights right here. Well, we want more than that. A couple things we can do. The first thing is when I put my sun in here that's going to illuminate everything else, I don't really want it affecting the water or the background because they've already got a light, the light that was in the original picture. So first thing I'll do is go here to my material editor. Come on, there it is. Okay. And I'm just going to take these guys. Do I already have that? Yes, I do. I've got that stage and everything. So I'm going to go up here. And where it says background, I'm going to double click on that and make it two-sided and self-illuminated. That was the important thing. I don't even know why I did the two-sided, just why not. So I'm making that self-illuminated. Also, the water as well, make it two-sided and self-illuminated. Okay, that's it for now. So now when we take a picture, okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. And also, but things were already out of the frame. Let's go ahead and set up our render setup here. And so we're all good there. And we want it to be HD TV. And we want it to be that medium resolution. And as long as we're here, we might as well go Shift F for our safe frames. Okay, that's cool enough. And ooh, I like that, how it looks just kind of like breaking water right there. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, we need a sun. We need a sun. So go back to my top viewport because that's always a good place to put in lights. And I figured that sun looked like it was right in the center. It might have been off to the side, but I don't know. I think it'll be kind of cooler off to the center here. So here, back to my lights, this time an Omni light. And I'm going to put my Omni light right there. And that was from the top, from the front, right here. I can pull that up. And you see, I'm going to put it right where I see this right here. It might have been, this is actually brighter over here, and so that makes a lot of sense. I just think it's kind of cooler coming from there. We'll see. We'll see. You see, it could be over there. We'll see. Okay, and I can see that it's barely outside of my range there. So I'll put it in, because if it's on the other side, well, it's not going to light up anything, is it? And so let's look at the parameters for that. First off, I'm going to call it Omni Sun. Alrighty. And the shadows, we want shadows on. And as far as the intensity and color, well, we'll start off with one and see how that looks. But the color, let's go ahead and make it, I'm going to get that eyedropper here. And I'm going to find that nice bright spot right from there and use that. Okay. And P for perspective here. Let's take a look at what that's looking like. Well, that's better. That's better. These are looking okay, but I think that this could look a little bit more magical right here, the sand and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and after changing the shadows to shadow parameters, because the shadows are like absolutely dark, I find that if you still want pretty intense shadows, that a 0.9 is good. In this case, maybe a 0.95. So it's like just that 0.05 will make the difference between it being like absolutely black and just really dark. And it's good. Okay, so we'll go with that. And the other thing is that we're going to take and let's go to the top again. And that Omni Sun, we're going to, you know what we're going to do? I want to make a copy of it. I want it to come exactly from the right place or the same place. So what I'm going to do is instead of shift copying like what I've done before, I'm just going to go over here to edit and go to clone. And that way, just like I did with the bottom down here, anyways, a clone, and that way you can get a copy and it's still in the exact same place. This one is going to be called Sun 01. Let's call this Sun O-R-A-N-G. I think that's how you spell orange. Might not be N-G-E. Is that it? Okay, something like that. All right. So Sun and Sun Orange, because this one I want a little bit more orangey. So we're on Sun Orange. I'm going to pick that and here and maybe more of this red-orange color right there. And okay. And back to my perspective. And let's get a look at that. Oh, you see, that's a little bit more magical. That might be a little bit too much. How about I'm going to tame this down a little bit. So I'm going to bring this down to like, oh, let's say 0.5. Is that good? You can see now why I often do these tests in the lower resolution. It just makes things a little bit faster. It's okay, 0.25. It's kind of cool. It's getting a little bit dark though. Okay, I see what's going on. Look up here. You see how that Omni light right there, so when we cloned it, we must have cloned it as an instance. I don't remember having a dialog box for that. But if something is ever an instance, if it's doing everything to the same thing, whatever it was, then we can make it unique. So in here, I'm just going to right click and I'm going to see where it says make unique. So now that is its own light. You see, I will bet you that if I looked at the other light, it has changed. So let's go back to the Omni Sun. You see, it's the same thing. And so what I want to do is go back here, go to my eyedropper again, go to that bright yellow color, and also bring that up to 1. Okay. And okay, and you'll see that now these are unique. You see how it's not in bold anymore, the type up here? Okay, and back here. And this has stayed the same. Let's see how this looks. I love working with sunsets because you get all these different pretty colors and different beautiful lighting effects. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And now it was getting kind of crazy before. We could probably bring that up, or we could bring this down. So we'll bring that down to like 0.5. Give it one more test. I think this should do it. Well, good enough. I might play with it back and forth. But by having those dual lights there, it just it gives it a little bit more magic, just like a sunset really, how the sunset colors just get really crazy and really beautiful. That's what we want to have happen. Ooh, that was it. I brought them up. So now they're both equal. They're both at 0.5. And to me, that's perfect. Okay, and we've got the white lights of the spots. We'll mess around with those a little bit. Anything else? Maybe a little bit of ambient light in here. So we'll just do that. And then I think we're done with our lighting. So I'll go back up to T for top. And this time, I'm just going to go ahead and shift copy this right here. And we'll put it right, maybe about here. And we're going to call this, what we're going to call it. We're going to call it ambient. AMB. So I've got OmniSun ambient. And that, and where we got the front, we'll bring that down a little bit. And usually we bring that down a little bit to 0.1. Let's just see. And back here to our perspective one last time. See if these get a little bit lightened up. Yes, just a little bit. You see how you have just a little bit of detail in there now? Okay, I'm liking that. That is some beautiful lighting. Hey, I'm telling you what, lighting makes all the difference in the world. So next time, I think we're going to start animating things. And not only will we animate characters, but we'll animate the lights, maybe animate the water a little bit. Who knows? Who knows if we could even get these trees blown? I don't know. We might not get too crazy. But good luck with that. Once again, this is just a suggestion. You do your own thing. It's totally on you. If you want to more or less copy me, I'm okay with that. But this is your chance to take these tools now. You've been through all these tutorials and, hey, make them your own. Have some fun with it. All right.